Hi. Okay, so today's thing that I want to talk about is um quite complex. So if I miss some, not complex, but there's so many layers to it. If I miss some bits, then I'll probably just record another video as like an add-on extra. And also it's a little bit more personal, like I have to dip in a little bit more personally than maybe I have in other videos. Which I don't really like doing. I don't like particularly sharing my story. So I'm going to try and do it in a way that gets things across, but at the same time avoids going in too deep into my own story because it's only here for an example anyway. So, how does our twin love us? Or any connection. This isn't just for twins, this is for anyone who's in a spiritual connection or is having any type of connection, or in fact, any relationship. How do they love us? Well, they love us as we love ourselves. And I've been shown this time and time and time again. My first connection that I experienced spent a huge amount of time not in contact with me. So I didn't really get to see it. But when you have a connection with daily contact and a lot of interaction, it's when you can really start to see things like how what you're doing is influencing and how you and your behavior and your thoughts and opinions on yourself directly correlates to how you are treated by other people. So I mean, everybody, every single relationship we enter into, and that's not even a romantic relationship, every single relationship shows us how we treat ourselves and how we view ourselves. And they mirror that back, but the mirror's slightly dirty. Your twin literally reflects it straight back. And that's why it can be so painful, because a lot of us, we don't have particularly great thoughts about ourselves and we don't treat ourselves that well. We actually end up really, because the twin is a mirror for you, and yeah, sometimes they do things and you get it, you're like, yeah, I can see how I do that because I do this, and they tend to be the things that they do that are kind of mildly irritating, and you can own them and you can say, yeah, I can see how I do that. And then even the nice things, you're like, yeah, I can see. And then they do some really foul things to you that make you feel betrayed on the deepest core level. And you think, I don't get it. I don't do that to them. Why am I getting this reflection? Because that's not me. And you try to piece the puzzle together. And what I realised was that actually it might not be how you treat other people, but it's how you treat yourself. And this connection with your twin, with anybody, everybody's showing you parts of yourself. Your twin literally shows you yourself. So if you've met your twin flame or a very strong connection, they are mirroring to you how you are treating yourself this lifetime and the things that you are doing to yourself. So if you don't love yourself and you don't really unconditionally, let me just read you out this quote. I love it, actually. It's Abraham Hicks quote, and it's on unconditional love. Because I feel like a lot of us, you see, we misunderstand what the journey is about. This is my opinion, obviously. So Abraham Hicks, almost all of you misunderstand what unconditional love is. Unconditional love is holding vibrational alignment with who you are, no matter what is going on around you. Unfortunately, what I see in the twin flame journey is I see a lot of what I call doormat type energy from the females. They just allow anything to happen to them and they go back in for more. I know you can't help it, because if you have a genuine connection with somebody, then you do have to keep working through it with them. Especially a twin, you do go back, but the women just never question anything sometimes. They just let everything flow on, so everything continues as it always has been. I have had 100% better results on my journey by expressing my feelings and asking for what I want and require. That's unconditional love to self. So if I have unconditional love to self, then my twin will have unconditional love to me also, because he's showing me what I'm showing to myself, what I'm giving to myself. The world responds to your energy. So you unconditionally loving yourself automatically responds to others unconditionally loving you too. If there's cracks in the armour, then you will get that back, and you will see that quite quickly. And it's why we don't get things when I don't do that to him. Why am I getting this reflection? And then we start to doubt the whole reflection thing in the first place and the connection. So, for example, here is a personal story of mine. I don't want to go into details of labels, and I just personally choose to stay away from this in my journey. I don't want to label anybody that I've had a connection to. I just want to share my experiences. That's kind of for me to know and for me to work out on my journey. And I don't feel that I want to put that out there, but I do want to share some experience that I've had with some connection, with strong connections that I've had in my life. So, for example, a connection that always looks at other women and drives me wild, makes me feel so unattractive, so unloved, so just like, and the thing is, they don't even mean it. From them, it comes from their own issues and their stuff, and then you make it your own, and you go into the, oh my God, I'm not worthy enough, like I'm not attractive enough, I'm not, they don't even see me like that. And then when I really tapped into myself, I thought, do you know what? I had this massive aha moment. I was like, I do that to myself. Every time a hot woman walks in, I look at them and I put myself against them, and I feel, and because I've had issues with my weight and my looks in the past, especially because I did modelling for a bit, and even though people think that will make you love yourself, it actually kind of destroys a lot of girls, and it definitely did me. It was something that I couldn't handle and I couldn't cope with, and it made me so insecure. But all these things are already in us. We're here to purge them. We wouldn't be having those experiences if we didn't have that wound already in us. The experiences we have like that break us, they're trying to bring the wound to the surface. And so was this experience. And it got to the point where I just burst. And on this occasion, I didn't even have to say anything, but I literally was like, what am I doing? I can't believe I'm putting myself down to every single girl that walks into a place out of fear that, you know, my connection might look at her. What am I doing to myself? And something snapped in me. And I literally, from that day, just turned it around. And it was almost like I'd had this lesson so long, it snapped me to the core. And I suddenly realised how amazing I was and how I should celebrate myself and how those people are nothing. Not that they're nothing, they're all wonderful people in their own right. But if, you know, they're nothing on a connection, and they're only as powerful as the power I'm giving to them. So I spent a lot of time giving a load of power away to these other people and these other women simply because I was looking at them and constantly assessing, were they hotter than me, were they skinnier than me, were they more toned than me. I couldn't help it. It's like my brain was on overdrive. I'd sit with connections and I always had this massive fear that people were players. And any time they'd send a text, I'd think, oh God, is that a girl on the phone? I drove myself crazy with it. And I was just literally throwing away my power constantly. So, of course, I was getting that reflected back, that for whatever reason, I would have a connection that would look at other women. And I just couldn't see, because I think, well, I don't look at other men. I can't see why I have this connection. I can't see why that's a part of it, because I don't do that. I'm not even interested in other guys if I have a connection to somebody. I don't even notice them. They're not even on my radar. Why do I have this connection? And then I realised it was because I'm doing it to myself. I was literally having a connection with somebody who was doing what I was doing in my own brain. And that's when I had the aha moment. And I realised that we literally are treated how we treat ourselves. And I totally flipped from that experience. Like, it was literally like a 360 flip, and I really came into my own self-love and my own self-power, and it was overnight. And what I did notice is that when I re-met with that connection with a totally different energy, it didn't look once. there was not one time head turned, didn't observe anybody else. I noticed it because I'm always trying to kind of work out the journey so that I can help people and myself as well, obviously. So I always take note of things, watch things, and I look at it from quite an outside point of view. Although I get lost in it sometimes, like we all do, I do try and I had a very unique experience of having a connection that I was able to be in a constant communication with and meeting. So I was able to see directly how what I did created a difference. And I did notice complete 360 turnaround from my 360 turnaround. And this is why I feel I'm here to kind of empower women. And there's plenty of people out there who'll teach you about unconditional forgiveness and love. And there's 1,000,001 channels you can go to find that information. But I want to just put forward the argument for self-empowerment, self-love, and not allowing this kind of doormat behavior to go on. Like the feminine energy is very powerful, the goddess energy, and we really hold the power, but we throw it all away on these connections. And I understand completely, because they're showing you yourself and it's so strong. And the thing is, you can't run away. So, but it's not about saying run away, and unconditional forgiveness is huge, and understanding and compassion for where other people come from and why they're acting in the ways they are. I struggle a little bit in that, but it does mean that I can help people on the other side of more empowerment. The main thing of this journey is to unconditionally love yourself and to come into your own truth and be able to express that to others. So if you're hurting, tell somebody. What I see over and over and over again is women that are so scared of loss, they'll tolerate anything, put up with anything, not speak anything that they're feeling in case that their connection runs away. So they're really doing themselves a massive disservice and causing a lot of that, because they're literally giving so little importance to themselves that they're kind of creating that scenario to keep coming around. And I'm not saying that's how the other person feels, it's just a scenario that gets created. I didn't express for a long time, and it wasn't out of me actually fearing loss. I never feared loss, because I had a catalyst connection that I constantly lost, basically, and was very similar to a lot of the normal dynamic of you're always available when they text, they disappear for months on end, say like they've never felt a connection like this, disappear, blah, 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 blah. And you get so excited to sort of hear the contact that you just don't even think to question what's gone on. And then by the time that connection faded away and I had a different connection, I was already kind of quite wise to that, and I had no fear of loss. I was like, well, if I can get over that, because my catalyst was strong. It was exactly like people talk about their twins. This is why I say you just keep moving forwards on your journey. People in your monad and strong connections, they are so close to your twins. Say your twin's like the ultimate absolute vibrational match for you. The very, very close to that will be such a fraction away from that until you literally grow beyond a lot of your wounds, you probably won't even be able to tell the difference. I mean, I was so sure. So because I got over that and met a stronger connection, or at least like an equal, different connection, I was like, well, if I can get over that, because that was trauma and soul break like I've never known. I mean, I've not gone into my journey, but everybody that's had one of these twin flame type connections, be it a catalyst or a twin, that soul shock is something that you can't even put into words. So because I'd gone through all that and survived, by the time it did me a big blessing, because I was like, well, you know, I'm not scared of losing this. If I can get over it once, I can get over it twice. So it meant that I never had that same fear of loss. So I did question things, and it always worked out in my favour. It always meant that I guess I got things that I wanted, not in a kind of expectations way, but I wasn't willing to tolerate bad behaviour. So I would speak up about how it made me feel, and it would often stop. But it's more than that. Like, truth and honesty is one part of it, but then there is also having to heal the wound vibrationally. So you can obviously do it without contact because you are just going in and healing the wounds. But truth and honesty is very important on this journey, and being able to stand in your vulnerability. So it's not about going in there and yelling at somebody. It's about being honest with how they're making you feel. So if someone's treated you badly and you just put up with it because you think, oh, they're my twin and I have to, and I'm just going to, I'm so excited that they've messaged me again after 3 months or 6 months or a year, that I'm just going to go back in there like nothing happened. And then you just breed all that resentment. You don't really bring anything to the surface. You don't get to talk about it. I think really this journey is about being very honest, having your boundaries. I think boundaries are super important. When we have no boundaries, we're kind of not really able to love unconditionally because we don't love ourselves. Even kind of God and Jesus, they had boundaries. When you read the biblical text, it's not like they just let any old thing, it's about unconditional forgiveness and tolerance, but at the same time, it's about having boundaries of what you personally want from your life. And, you can be flexible and open to discussion as long as it suits both people. But to constantly just throw yourself away and put yourself as last place because you're so excited you have contact is really just saying you don't love yourself. And then you'll just get that treatment thrown right back at you. It's about looking at the way your connection is treating you and looking at how you maybe treat yourself. And then I do think honesty and truth is a big thing, and speaking out and saying, this upsets me, and then you can talk about it. You can have honesty. They can explain why they're doing what they're doing and coming from that place. When it's all kind of pushed under the carpet and silent, I took a long time to express a biggie. I kind of did a lot of the things along the way, and it always works out in my favour, always. And then there was a biggie that I didn't do because it wasn't fear of loss. I was just so scared. I was so terrified of actually speaking my truth and being vulnerable that I put it on the back burner for a long time. And as soon as I got over that fear, I had to learn to love myself first. Then I expressed, and then I felt so much freedom. And that's why I'm now my gifts are coming in. I'm so much more able to progress on my mission, my journey. Everything in life is just getting a million times better because I stood in my truth, I expressed my truth, I shared it, and I just put myself out there. And that is the whole thing of this journey. It's not about constantly allowing life to happen to us. It's about asking for what you want and being okay with not having it. If it's not available, if it's not for you, it's letting it go, even if it's for that time period or that time being. It's like, this is what I require, rather than sitting there miserable for years and years and years on end, wishing for something that people don't even ask for in the first place. Or they just tolerate their where they're at or their behaviour because they keep thinking the universe is going to mystically change something for them. But only you can change your situation, and that's by putting yourself as number one. Once you start putting yourself as number one, so will other people. And it doesn't mean you can't love and you can't care for people and you can't give, because you can, but it has to come from a full place. When it's coming, I hear people say, yeah, but I don't mind giving because, I don't have expectations. But it's not true, because there wouldn't be the resentment if there wasn't the expectations. Giving love needs to come from a pure place, and you can only give it from a pure place when you put yourself first. That's why being selfish is super important, because you heal yourself, you love yourself, and then you're giving from a full cup. And that's far more pure than giving from a half empty cup and constantly draining yourself over and over again. I feel like fear is the big thing here. It's like people can't stand in their truth and they can't put down boundaries generally because of fear of loss, fear of being judged. And it's just a real fear of being honest and authentic. And so it's really about overcoming that and being able to be honest and authentic, because we would all have boundaries if we were able to be honest and authentic and vulnerable. We all would. I don't believe that anybody is happy sitting in misery and waiting for ages upon end for the occasional little text here and there. People just, and I see it over and over again. But when you can become, and if you don't have the twin around to do that with, use whatever connection you have around. Just start practicing being more authentic and getting over the fear that you're going to offend somebody, you're going to lose somebody, because if you're afraid of losing somebody, you will never have union. You simply cannot have union whilst you're afraid of losing it. You have to be whole within yourself and be able to speak your truth and be vulnerable without the fear of loss. Only then can it actually ever come together, else you're always just coming from a broken place and living on the edge of your seat and totally unafraid of saying what you feel, what you think, what you want. So it's just so important to stop accepting everything and start speaking your truth. And I'm not saying to go out there and demand stuff, have expectations. I'm saying to speak your truth from a non-expectant place. This is my truth. This is what I want. And unfortunately, I'm not happy with this situation. So I'm going to have to back off for a while. I'm going to have to go and do this, or I'm going to have to go and focus on myself because this isn't making me happy. And it's having that honesty about your own situation and the honesty to the other person. Else they don't have a clue. They probably just think you're absolutely perfectly fine because you haven't expressed it. You haven't brought it up. You haven't said what's not making you happy. People can only make you happy when you tell them. And I think because it's such an energetic connection, we sort of start to think, oh, but they feel it and they know and they do. And the thing is, a lot of the time we connect to people's souls, so their souls know it, but maybe on a conscious level they don't. Even on this 5D journey, we still need to express our truth. That's one thing I've learned massively, because trust me, if anyone could have gotten away with it, it would be me. It filled me with fear to speak my truth. It was so terrifying and horrendous. I would have done anything. So I tried everything energetic, and ultimately speaking my truth is the thing that sets you free, and because you're being genuinely authentic, and also to look at how they're treating you and see it as a direct reflection for how you treat yourself. Because you will always see that reflection there if you're truly honest with yourself. And that's how the reflection works. They treat you how you treat yourself. If you put yourself second, they'll put you second. If you put yourself first, they will also put you first. It's not about not trying to encourage people to go out there and be a bitch, because that's not what this is about. It's about unconditional love of self, and what is within is without. And then only when you unconditionally love yourself can you truly give love anyway and be loving and receive love, because before then it's all coming from a kind of mixed, not real, broken place. As soon as you have full unconditional love, and boundaries are great, because I know we all say we shouldn't need boundaries, because really when our vibration is in the right place, people don't even test our boundaries because they can just feel we're in the right place. But until then, maybe it's a good idea to practice having boundaries, because it almost helps your energy get to that stage where people can sense your boundaries. And having boundaries is great, and not stupid boundaries. You know, I'm talking about boundaries. If you're not happy, then you need to put down a boundary that you're happy with, and stick to that, and be willing to say, this is, you know, what I need to make myself happy. And if I can't get it from that person, that's fine. That's where the unconditional love from. It's like, I can't make them give me anything. I can't force them to be different or to change. Like, that's totally up to them. But I can express what I want and what I'm happy with, and then be prepared to lose it, even in the face of an ultimate connection. Because if it is an ultimate connection, it will come around, because you both ultimately want the same things as each other. So when you've worked on yourselves, it will happen. If that is your ultimate connection or your twin, you will both on a core level want the same things. That will be wounds that hold you back. So if you express your truth, on some deep level, it will be a truth they want. And even if you have to walk away and time passes, it will be what comes back. Or you might be surprised and you might have another connection. So I don't want to go too much into twin flames in this video because it's very general. It's to all connections, to people experiencing any connection. Is if they don't want the same things as you on a core level, it's because the time isn't right, or there's someone else, you know, and you have to be okay with that, and you have to trust in the universe enough that you can have everything you want, and to be able to move forward and allow it to happen, allow it to come to you by expressing and being honest, being vulnerable, being open, and having enough self-love to only accept what you're happy with. And like I keep saying, it's not, don't be unreasonable with that. You know, obviously there's, but we all know when there's a lot of things going on that aren't making us happy, and yet people sit through them for years and years and years upon end, hoping that one day it will magically change. But your energy changes that situation. But till you get your energy to that point, it often helps to verbalize and to express and to be honest and to be in your truth. And ultimately, the only energetic state that can create a union is authentic truth, honesty, and unconditional love of self. It's a journey of self. We hear it over and over and over again, yet I constantly see people putting the twin before them and wondering why they're getting certain behaviours back. Now, I just want to empower women. Like I said, there's a million videos out there that will tell you how to unconditionally keep giving and giving and giving. But I want to say, give to yourself. Everything you want to get from your twin, do for yourself. And watch the change. We are the twin. If you believe in the concept, you are two souls, one soul in two bodies. So when you are giving to yourself and you're treating yourself in the exact way you want someone else to treat you, it's like a no-brainer how you're going to get that back. So I just want to move women into stop accepting everything and to find within what they're not receiving, what they're not getting. So start to look at those behaviours that you can't understand why they're there, where the reflection's coming from, and think on a truthful level, do you do that to yourself? Do you sabotage yourself in those ways in your mental thoughts? And then take a really honest look at that and see how maybe you can go forwards and make a change. So I hope this helped people today. If you don't resonate with it, that's fine. Like, we're all on our own unique journeys and we all have our own unique paths, but this is something that's really hit me hard lately, is that this journey is about me, and this is about me treating me. And like, sometimes I look back on my photos and I literally cry, because I've been on this journey for about 5 years, and I look back at pictures of me 5 years ago and I think, I can't believe how much self-hatred I gave myself. And I kind of look back and cry, and I know you can't live in the past, but when you start to really, really grow in self-love and you start to see your worth and you look at your old self and you see yourself with loving eyes and you think, why was I so hard on myself? Why did I put myself down so much? Why did I allow this to happen so much? And at each level of the journey, you have a new awakening and a new part of awareness, and you go back and you look at the past and you sort of see what you did to your inner child, to your old self, and you kind of feel a bit of sadness for that, or I do anyway. I think, oh my gosh, I could cry for how I treated myself with my own thoughts and how I thought about myself back then, you know. And so we can make the change from today, in that we can start to appreciate really ourselves and stop putting ourselves as secondary in this connection, and realize this connection is us. We are so much more powerful than we could ever think we are. As soon as we start realizing our own power, that's when we can create stuff. We're the magnet. Like, we're not there chasing. As soon as we try to chase for things and put up with everything and just say, oh, well, it's okay, it will change one day because it's this connection, blah, blah, blah. We're basically just throwing ourselves away and not realising that we're the magnet. All we really have to do is just stand still and ask, and it's delivered. But we have to have no resistance and no fear to that. We have to be confident that we are worth what magnetizes in, and that the best will be magnetized in, and that all we have to do is really be these powerful, energetic, feminine beings, and then we become magnets, and really we just draw to us. We don't have to go around running around chasing, putting up with anything. We just be. For the feminine energy, it's very important to just be present and to really be a magnet that pulls in people to us. We're not the go. If you're in a female body, the chances are you need to cultivate your feminine energy, even if you are a little bit on the masculine side. And twins need to balance. The ultimate aim is that you balance within both, but you will still be predominantly on the female side. You will, and it's really just being in that feminine energy of magnetizing rather than sort of chasing around and being okay with little scraps here and there. And I'm not saying that there's not reasons why that's not happening. If this is a bona fide twin flame, divine connection, divine union connection, it won't be as simple as they don't give a shit. It will be they've got their own stuff going on, their own issues going on, fears on their sides, but it's still not making anybody confront anything while you constantly okay with just accepting what you're not happy with. So I just want to push people to really, women to stand in their own power here and to really work on understanding their worth. And it gets easier when you first do it and you first start to put down a boundary or speak your truth or something that you want from a situation. It's almost like you feel guilty. Oh my God, but what if I hurt them? And what if this? And that's all the sort of damaged feminine stuff. Really, you have to just keep practicing, and it gets easier and easier to be, this is what I want as a feminine. And like I said, the unconditionality of it comes with non-judgment. So you don't judge the other person, you express your desire, and then you leave it what you're happy with tolerating, and then you leave it up to the other person as to what they want, because they also have the freedom to choose. So that's completely up to them. But no one can even know until it's expressed, till you've been honest, till you've expressed your need and stuck by it, because otherwise it's just two people in the dark. So this is what I really want people to get out of this video, is just to understand their worth, and that boundaries are important, self-boundaries, whilst having non-judgment to others. That's the key. Self-boundaries, no judgment on others. And just watch as your life changes, and just really being aware of those situations that upset you and hit you on a core level and make you feel so unhappy. How do you do that to yourself? In what ways are you treating yourself in that way? So I hope this helps some people, and like I said, if it doesn't resonate for you, then this is just my opinion, my experiences on my journey. I think at the moment we're all being called to kind of share and help each other move forward by sharing our opinion. I've been having dreams, and I've noticed that like 3 or 4 other people have had the same dream of us being in a classroom with a bunch of twin flames all sharing their stories. And I really think this is a sign that we're all really like needing to pull together right now. We're all needing to pull together with our experiences so we can help each other. But it doesn't mean my truth is going to be 100% your truth, and that your truth will be 100% my truth. Just take the bits, you know, if there's something you've been thinking of lately and I've just said it, then you might think, that's, you know, just been thinking about that myself. So take what resonates and leave what doesn't, and I hope there was something of use for you.